Good evening and live from Banjul, this is GRTS News with me, Winifred Nicole. In the headlines tonight, President Adama Barrow arrives in Nigeria for a state visit to further enhance the bilateral relations between Banjul and Abuja. Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure presides over the launching of the National Codex Committee to be spearheaded by heads of various government institutions. The government of the Gambia revises price of granite with 28% increment compared to last year and relaxed restriction on the sale of granite with immediate effect. Members of the Gender Security Sector Reform Committee engages security personnel in different forces during a tour of committees in the North Bank region to ensure a successful security sector reform policy. Plus, the Gambia joins the rest of the world to mark International Day of Persons with Disability with a theme, Not All Disabilities Are Visible. And Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari under pressure to sack his top military chiefs following the killings of 43 farmers in the northeast of Borno State. Well, viewers, those are the headlines. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, arrived in the Nigerian capital of Abuja for a state visit. The Gambian leader is accompanied by the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, Nuha Toure, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Mamadou Tangara, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dauda Jallow. His visit is expected to further enhance the bilateral relationship between the Gambia and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mamadou Jallow is in Abuja and sent in this report.
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, arrived in the Nigerian capital Abuja at 3 p.m. local time. He was received by Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, the Minister of the Capital Territory, Muhammadu Bello, and the Gambia's High Commissioner in Nigeria, His Excellency Gambia's closest allies. After his arrival, President Barrow drove to the State House in Abuja, where he was officially welcomed by President Muhammadu Buhari. The two leaders had a closed-door meeting, after which President Barrow spoke to the press. President Barrow said he was honored to be in Nigeria, revealing that the visit accorded him the opportunity to update President Muhammadu Buhari on the reforms his government has undertaken.
The security sector reform was in the Gambia. And basically, it was what this was, and this is why we are here to update Mr. President. Because Nigeria has been very, very good. Nigeria has been a very good role. They have been a big role of supporting us in different areas. Technical assistance, judicial, education, and the economic team in the Gambia. So Nigeria have been very, very, very supportive. So we said no. If you want to thank a farmer, the best place to thank him is to come to his farm. That's why we are here to thank Mr. President.
He also said that his government has made commendable inroads in reviving the economy and improving infrastructure, arguing that his government inherited a broken system.
I came to power after 22 years of dictatorship. When I say dictatorship, everybody knows what it means. I think there are a lot of challenges. When I came, our economy was bad, not even bad. I think it is worst situation. When I came, we were less than 1 month import core in Gambia. Our debt to GDP was 120% when I came to power. So it was in a very serious situation. It was like we have a mountain to climb. But let me just update you. Today, we are up to 5 months in Bodcom, in Gambia. Our debt to GDP, 30%. Our growth, before it used to be 1% to 2%. Today, our growth is about 6.5%. And I was able to increase salaries 50%, pensions 100% within this short period. Infrastructure. During the 50 years, they were able to do 800 kilometers tar road. In 4 years, I'm doing 600 roads. Bridges, 750 meters. I am doing 2,500 meters in 4 years. So we were able to do a lot within the period, but the institutions were not strong. That's why we are engaged in reforms. It's not even reforms, I can say it is a complete overhaul of the system, because the system was polluted. But today, we are building strong institutions. Freedom of press, independent of the judiciary, independent of the National Assembly. These are institutions that are very, very strong today in the Gambia.
That the visit will enhance Banjul-Abuja relations in the mutual interest of both countries. The President and delegation left the Asarok for the hotel where he is expected to continue engagements. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS News.
The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, has presided over the launching of the National Codex Committee at a ceremony held at the Sir Dawda Jawara International Conference Center. The new body consists of heads of various government institutions to spearhead the comprehensive food policies and safety legislation meant to protect consumers. Ba Ibrahim Cham covered the launching and he now reports. We apologize for that. Well, that report by Ibrahim Chan will come later in the news. The government is pleased to announce that farm gate price for granite has been revised upward with $20,700 per metric ton to $23,000 per metric ton. This represents an increment of 28% compared to last year. In the same vein, the public is hereby informed that the restriction on the sale of granite is also relaxed with immediate effect. Individuals are at liberty to sell their granite to institutions and places of their choice. However, individual or institutions that intend to be sales agents are required to register with the National Food Security Processing and AMP Marketing Corporation, formerly Gambia Granite Corporation. This is necessary for the government to ensure that proper standards are maintained and take account of the total tonnage of granite being sold for planning purposes. By a copy of this press release, the Inspector General of Police, Director General of Immigration, Governor, District Chiefs and Alcalos are being informed accordingly. To some legislative matters now, the Minister of Defense on Thursday moved the motion for the appointment of Lieutenant Colonel Abdoulaye Conte as a member of the Gambia Armed Forces Council. Lawmakers referred the document to the Assembly Business Committee for further scrutiny and advice. Uminjai was following proceedings at the National Assembly's chambers, and she files in this report.
Lawmakers at the National Assembly on Thursday continued sittings on the fourth ordinary session as the Minister of Defense moved the motion for the confirmation and appointment of retired Lieutenant Colonel Abdoulaye Conte as a member of the Gambia Armed Forces Council. This, he noted, is in accordance with Section 189, subsection 1G of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and Section 13 1G of the Gambia Armed Forces Act.
I beg to move that this August Assembly do consider and confirm the appointment of retired Lieutenant Colonel Abdoulaye Conte as another member of the Armed Forces Council.
Moving the motion further, the defense minister informed the assembly that the move forms part of the security sector reform on defense, citing that there has never been a functional armed forces council in the Gambia. The establishment of this council, the defense minister stated, will significantly assist in the oversight functions of the Gambia Armed Forces.
It is my ministry's belief that the establishment of this council with this caliber of people will significantly assist in the oversight processes and democratic civilian control of the armed forces. The roles of the armed forces are clearly stipulated in section 189, subsection 2 and 3.
The motion was moved and seconded but was referred to the Assembly Business Committee for further scrutiny and advice.
It has been moved and seconded that the appointment of retired Colonel Abdullah Conte be referred to the ABC committee for committal to the relevant committee for scrutiny and advice. Those in favor, please say aye. Please say no. The ayes have it. So it's now been referred to the ABC for committal to a relevant committee.
Sittings adjourned until Friday, 4 December 2020. Uminjai, GRTS.
The Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly wishes to inform the public that the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs, in pursuance to Section 152 of the 1997 Constitution and Clause 87 of the Standing Orders of the National Assembly, shall table the Appropriation Bill 2021, that's the budget speech, in the 2020 legislative year on Friday, 4th December 2020 at 10 a.m. prompt. Admission to this occasion is strictly by invitation. Standard dress code, that is traditional or lounge suit, required, and also the silence rule must be observed during proceedings of the session. All invited guests are reminded to comply with the general safety measures on COVID-19 as stipulated by the WHO and the Ministry of Health. The release concludes. Still on economic matters, a slowdown of economic activities, mainly in the third quarter of the 2020 year due to COVID-19 restrictions, has resulted to a decline in GDP growth and depreciation of the dalasi. The governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia disclosed to the press during the bank's quarterly meeting on Thursday. However, as Ibrahim Jallo reports, quicker recovery is anticipated in 2021.
Statistical data tabled before the governor of Central Bank reveals a slow pace of economic activities due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which had even eroded business confidence according to a quarterly business sentiment survey by the country's apex bank.
The Central Bank's Composite Index of Economic Activities, which is a statistical measure of aggregate economic activities, shows a marked slowdown in economic activity in the third quarter of 2020, due mainly to the restrictions that were imposed to curb the spread of the coronavirus.
The unusual experience owing to the pandemic reflects a significant deficit in the country's balance of payments, thereby reducing real sector and external sector developments.
The preliminary balance of payments estimates for the first 9 months of 2020 indicated that the current account balance worsened to a deficit of $118.39 million, 6.53% of GDP, from a deficit of $35.87 million, 2.03% of GDP, in the corresponding period of 2019. The widening of the deficit in the goods account mainly reflects the increase in the imports of COVID-19 related materials and a fall in exports, especially re-exports in the second quarter and some part of third quarter of 2020 due to border closure.
Although foreign exchange transactions increased and exchange rates remained stable during the period under review, the dalasi is said to have depreciated against major foreign currencies.
The volume of transactions in the foreign exchange market increased to $2.14 billion in the 12 months to end October 2020, from $2.2 billion in the corresponding period of the previous year. Purchases of foreign currency indicating supply increased by 0.93% to 1.08 billion during the period. From January to November 2020, the dollar depreciated against the US dollar by 1.4%, euro by 6.3%, and pound sterling by 1.1%.
Due to the prevailing factors, the central bank has taken decision to maintain the policy rate at 10%, the required reserve at 13%, interest rate on standing deposit facility at 2.5%, and lending facility at 11.0%. Ibrahim Diallo, GRTS News.
Away from that, efforts to ensure a successful security sector reform are at an advanced stage as members of the Gender Security Sector Reform Committee completed a two-day regional tour meeting security personnel of different forces and members of various committees across the North Bank region. Famarabaji report on the team's engagements with top security officers and community elders.
The gender caravan continues across the North Bank region after a successful tour in the Lower River region. The team began their engagements at the 2nd Infantry Barracks in Farafenye, where they were received by Commanding Officer Lieutenant Colonel Amadou Bojang and his men. Explaining the security sector reform process, the Director of Monitoring and Coordinating at the Office of the National Security urged security personnel to strengthen existing civil-military relations.
How many people here in the whole of this region? But the soldiers are few. But with that, you are able to keep the peace. So imagine now if everybody is not happy with you in this community, it's going to be a problem for you. So like Colonel was saying, there should be a good relation between you and the community. But remember, you come from them, and one day you go back to them.
Soldiers commended the team for clearing their doubts surrounding the SSR process and assured them of their commitment towards the betterment of the nation. The team made a brief stop at the Farafenye Fire and Rescue stations, where they engaged with rescue workers on the need to observe gender reforms and related issues in the security sector reform process. In Kerawan, the next port of call, the team met with the Deputy Governor before proceeding to the Amdulai border, where a similar convergence was held. The two-party wrapped up the caravan in Barrow with meetings with different security forces. Security officers commended the move and called on the SSR gender team to create more platforms for such engagements.
We don't underestimate it, but because it's very important. Calling people, talking to them, definitely is unmeasurable. So we are really thanking you for a job well done, and definitely, if you can continue doing it, I think it will be better, rather than just once in a blue moon. So that may not in fact serve well.
I would like to extend a very big gratitude to all of you for sharing this information with us. And I'm also promising you that the information that you send is received very loudly and clearly, and it will assist in enhancing our activities, daily activities as security officers.
At the end of their activities, team members described the regional caravan as a success that vitally spread essential messages about the ongoing security sector reform.
For me, this is amazing exercise that we went through the past 2 days, because we've seen that the communities are involved in this whole process of SSR. I think the message was clear, and the fear that people think SSR is about sending people home, it's not about that. It's about really looking into the policies we have and whether we see whether those policies are fit for purpose. And I think the message is clear, and they understood SSR is about reform, and reform is about the people themselves.
It's also about transforming the security to make it more responsible and make it more accountable to the people. So it's people-centric, not only state-centric. I think that's what came out very clearly in this tour, and we think UNDP is very happy that we have sponsored this, and it had gone a long way in sending that message across. And UNDP will continue to support the government on the security sector reform initiative.
The opportunity to interface with the men and women in uniform and community members is a vital undertaking necessary to advance the goals of security sector reform. Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
3rd December is observed as the International Day of Persons with Disability. The theme for this year's commemoration is "Not All Disabilities Are Visible." The celebration focuses on creating awareness and understanding of disabilities that are not apparent. As part of events marking the day, the Minister of Women, Children and Social Welfare, Fatou Kinte, delivered a statement highlighting government's commitment towards supporting the differently able people. More in this excerpt.
The government of the Gambia committed itself and developed an integrated national disability policy, the National Plan of Action on the African Decade of Persons with Disability and Persons with Disability Bill 2020 that are all in line with the Convention on the Rights and Dignity of Persons with Disability, which the Gambia is a signatory to. The said policy needs reviewing while the Persons with Disability Bill is at the National Assembly awaiting its third and final reading for enactment. As part of the process of defining the practical implication of the Convention, this bill has made provisions for the healthcare, social support, accessibility, rehabilitation, education, and vocational training, communication, employment and work protection and promotion of the basic rights of persons with disabilities. Government, through my ministry, will embark on every possible means to ensure that the full independence of persons with disabilities is realized through the provision of their basic needs. Moreover, my ministry will work closely with all relevant ministries and stakeholders to work towards the barrier-free environment and inclusive public service to all persons with disabilities. My ministry will also continue to strengthen partnerships with the organizations of persons with disabilities to implement the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, as well as ensuring that disability is mainstreamed in SDGs implementation, and by doing so, we'll be leaving no one behind.
Minister Kinte there delivering a statement on the commemoration of persons with disabilities. The Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, has presided over the launching of the National Codex Committee at a ceremony held at the Sir Dawda Jawara International Conference Center. The new body consists of heads of various government institutions to spearhead the comprehensive food policies and safety legislation meant to protect consumers. By Ibrahim Cham covered the launching and he now reports.
International food standards is the primary mandate of the newly launched National Codex Committee. Under the global body of Codex Alimentarius, which is a collection of internationally adopted food safety standards and related issues presented in a unified manner aimed at protecting consumers' health, safety, and as well as fair practices in food trade. The Food Safety and Quality Authority falls under the purview of the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure. She stated that the Barrow administration is conscious of promoting a healthy lifestyle to increase human productivity, life expectancy, and social economic growth and development.
This is crucial in guaranteeing that populations are protected from contaminated foods that may lead to foodborne diseases. In pursuit of these goals, the Gambia must ensure that Codex standards and guidelines are developed and updated to guide national policies towards national food safety framework, preventing foodborne diseases, epidemics, and malnutrition in line with the National Development Plan.
Dr. Amadou Sow, who serves as the board chair of the Food and Safety Quality Authority, spoke on the National Codex Committee's responsibility of formulating responses to the protocols and policies of the flagship food safety body, which also provides advice to the government on matters related to Codex.
The committee to be launched today is indeed to generate awareness, build capacity, develop internal guidance to enhance food safety expertise and knowledge of the Codex system.
Moduche Yasin Fall, the Executive Director of the National Nutrition Agency, presented the Lifetime Achievement Award to the late Dr. Omar Toure, who was described as a selfless person and a guru of food safety and veterinary-related associations. was also commended for drafting the first national nutritional policy. According to Mr. Fall, the late Dr. Omar Toure, the former PS of the Ministry of Agriculture and the author of the first Food Act.
Dr. Omar Toure was the first Gambian to serve as the national coordinator of the European Union Support Office of the Ministry of Finance. That's now. And then Dr. Toure also did a lot of consultancies, not only in the Gambia here, but for FAO, for AU-IBA, for WHO, and many, many more organizations where Omar's expertise was recognized, and then he was able to deliver some consultants, not only for the Gambia, but internationally.
Abdullahi Baks Toure, brother to the late Dr. Omar Toure, received the award on behalf of the family.
We thank you for this recognition. We also wish to inform you that formally we have decided to establish a foundation in this memory. But the foundation, Doctor was an all-rounder. But the foundation is going to focus on poultry production. So it's going to be called the Dr. Omar Toure Poultry Entrepreneurship Institute.
Malang Fofana, who serves as the interim chairman of the National Codex Committee, gave an overview of the Codex Committee.
Ideally, all government departments and organizations concerned with food safety, food production and trade in food should be included in the National Codex Committee.
While issues of food safety continue to gain momentum worldwide, consumers become more informed and demand quality food. According to officials, the Gambia's membership to the Codex Alimentarius will serve as a benchmark for the regulation of food quality in the Gambia. Reporting for GRTS News, I'm by Ibrahim Chan.
Bloom Bank Africa Gambia Limited is the official name of the new brand of Sky Bank Gambia Limited. The announcement was made on Tuesday at a ceremony held at its head office along the Karaba Avenue. Janke Toure has more on that.
Sky Bank Gambia Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of Sky Bank PLC of Nigeria. The subsidiary was incorporated in Banjul on June 4, 2008. As part of the group's expansion strategy, Sky Bank Gambia Limited began operations to provide commercial, financial and business opportunities to the local market in 2009. The bank today unveiled its new brand dubbed Bloom Bank Africa Gambia Limited, a move described by officials as a milestone in the history of the Gambia's financial industry.
This is a bank that we were among the architects really to set it up in the Gambia. We have seen and witnessed how Sky Bank has performed over the years. Very steady, reputable, reliable, consistent in the delivery of the services. What we have seen in terms of transition today is really the fact that the bank has been adapting to a fast-changing environment.
It is important to note that part of the mandate of the Central Bank of the Gambia is to encourage and promote sustainable economic development. In this vein, the Central Bank of the Gambia looks forward to greater intermediation through diversified distribution of sectorial credits, financial inclusion, and the increased use of electronic platforms to deliver financial services and products.
The bank is also an offshoot of the expansion plan of Sky Bank PLC, which is said to be one of the favorite banks in Africa. The managing director of Bloom Bank Africa Gambia Limited, Suni Anwal, said the new development seeks to deliver service with professionalism. He thanked their customers for their patronage.
Bloom represents body, flourishing, and prosperity. As a bank, we are passionate about helping businesses, individuals, institutions, and the Gambia to grow and develop by providing products that speak to their inherent needs. As a flower blooms, so are we as a bank, committed to providing the right mix of capital, technology, and expertise through partnership that engenders the movement of resources.
The chairman of Oakwood Green Group, Gabriel Edgal, represents the majority stakeholder of the company. He called on Africans to unite and work together for the meaningful development of the continent. According to Mr. Edgal, the aim of the organization is to contribute to the socio-economic development of the Gambia.
We have all it takes. Nobody can create the Africa we desire except us. As individuals, the private sector, SMEs, institutions, governments, we all have a role to play in our own small way to enforce the change that we hope for. That is why we as a bank are on a mission to enable greatness in the Gambia and across Africa.
With the branding of the bank, officials assured that customer satisfaction will be guaranteed. For the news, I am Janke Toure.
Well, that report by Janke Toure takes us to a first commercial break. News from outside the Gambia is up next. Do stay with us.
Hello, AfriCell people. AfriCell has done it again.
What is it this time?
Simply use your AfriMoney account to buy credit, data, and cash power to get the chance to win up to $500,000.
That is fantastic.
If you don't have an AfriMoney account, now is the perfect time to get it. Call 777 to activate your AfriMoney account and increase your chances to win up to $500,000.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow. Tired of seeing the message you have insufficient funds in your account? Worry no more. With AfriCell, the cholera credit just got way better.
Now you can continue your conversations with your loved ones. With the new cholera credit, you can now borrow up to $250 credit. Send a blank SMS to 152 to get your cholera credit and activate the service of your choice. For more info, please call 111.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back, and over now to news from outside the Gambia. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has come under immense pressure to sack the country's top military chiefs, following the killing of 43 farmers in the northeast of Borno State. Boko Haram has since claimed responsibility for Saturday's killing, which have sparked angry reactions across the country. U.S. President Donald Trump is renewing claims of electoral fraud, and his former National Security Advisor, General Michael Flynn, is back in a call for Trump to overturn the Constitution. Well, we'll take our second break now. Well, that was all in this edition of the news, but before we take leave of you, a look once again at our headline making stories. President Adama Barrow had arrived in Nigeria for a state visit to further enhance the bilateral relations between Banjul and Abuja. Vice President Dr. Aissatou Toure presided over the launching of the National Codex Committee, to be spearheaded by heads of various government institutions. The government of the Gambia has revised price of granite with 28% increment compared to last year and relaxed restriction on the sale of granite with immediate effect. Members of the Gender Security Sector Reform Committee have been engaging security personnel in different forces during a tour of communities in the North Bank region to ensure a successful security sector reform policy. Plus, the Gambia has joined the rest of the world to mark International Day of Persons with Disability with a theme, "Not All Disabilities Are Visible." And Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari is under pressure to sack his top military chiefs following the killings of 43 farmers in the northeast of Borno State. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 8. Join us at 10 for more news. Until then, do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.